What if the Matrix wasn't just a movie, but a simplified explanation of how perception works? Here are 10 hidden insights most people missed. Everyone thinks the red pill wakes Neo up. But from a Chan perspective, the red pill is still part of the system. Why? Because the moment you believe, "Now I know the truth," the mind creates a new illusion. One illusion is comfort, the other illusion is awakening. But both are still inside the same program. Real awakening happens when illusion itself disappears. In the next video, we'll look at something even stranger: how Neo slows time. Neo dodging bullets is one of the most famous scenes in The Matrix. Most people think it's about speed, but meditation traditions suggest something else. Time feels slower. When the mind becomes quiet, the fewer thoughts you have, the more space appears between moments. Neo didn't move faster. His perception simply slowed time. In the next video, we'll examine the famous line, "There is no spoon." There is no spoon, one of the most famous lines in The Matrix, but it isn't really about bending metal. The boy tells Neo to realize something deeper. Your brain never sees reality directly. It receives signals from the senses and builds a model of the world. What feels solid is actually a constructed experience, which raises a bigger question. If perception builds reality, why do we still get trapped by it? That's the next video. Cypher knows the Matrix is fake, so why betray everyone for a stake? Because knowledge alone doesn't free you. The body still remembers pleasure. Meditation traditions call this habit energy. Even if the mind understands the illusion, the senses still crave it. Cypher didn't choose ignorance. He chose comfort. Next, we'll examine another trap inside the Matrix: attention. Remember the woman in the red dress? Neo looks away for a second, and suddenly Agent Smith appears. Morpheus asks him, "Were you looking at the woman in the red dress?" This scene is really about attention. Where attention goes, awareness follows. Lose attention, and the system takes control again. Meditation training is mostly about stabilizing attention. But here's the deeper question: why does the illusion feel so real? That's next. If the Matrix is fake, why does it feel real? Because your brain never experiences the world directly. It only receives signals. Light becomes sight, vibration becomes sound, pressure becomes touch. Your mind stitches these signals together into a world. The simulation is built inside perception. But if perception builds reality, why do most people stay inside it? That's next. When Neo wakes up, he feels completely alone. Many people who question reality experience the same feeling, because society runs on shared assumptions, shared beliefs, shared narratives. When you stop believing them, it can feel like leaving a collective dream. Awakening rarely begins with fireworks. It usually begins with silence. But then comes the hardest question: if freedom exists, why don't more people choose it? Next video. Morpheus once said, "Most people are not ready to be unplugged." Why? Because certainty feels safe. The unknown feels dangerous. Even if a system limits us, it still gives identity and meaning. Freedom requires more than truth. It requires courage. But Morpheus also gave Neo one more instruction: free your mind. What does that actually mean? That's next. Morpheus tells Neo, free your mind. But freedom doesn't come from control. It comes from letting go. Letting go of thoughts. Letting go of reactions. Letting go of identity. When nothing is tightly held, the mind becomes clear. This idea appears in many meditation traditions, but it leads to the biggest question in the entire Matrix story: is reality itself partly constructed by the mind? Next video. Was the Matrix just science fiction, or something deeper? For thousands of years, philosophers and meditation traditions have asked the same question: how much of reality is constructed by the mind? The Matrix turned that idea into a story about simulation. But the real question is this: if perception builds reality, what happens when perception becomes clear? That is the real awakening. Follow to explore the hidden mechanics of the human operating system.